Hi everybody, so today I'm going to talk about very important subject. I think personally that is the most important subject. It's stress and our gut. So who here thinks that stress had contributed to the health problems that you have? Okay, write in the comments, I want to know. Okay, so maybe we have stress from our work, from the boss, from our coworker. Our kids are making us stressed, and maybe our partner or our finances or whatever it is. So this stress is the same response as we are chased by a tiger or a lion. Okay, so what happens when we are chased? So when we are chased by an animal, it's called, we go to sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, we all know. Our blood supply goes into the muscles, into the brain, into the better vision, to escape, or muscles to fight back, and to the heart. So the blood flow stays away from the digestion, away from the reproductive organs, and our immunity is suppressed. So immunity is not important at that time. The most important thing is to get away from this threat, right? So this is called sympathetic and fight or flight mode. So where the problem lies? The problem lies with inability to recover from stress. Normally, in our ancient age, after being chased by a tiger and when we are in a safe place, automatically the sympathetic nervous system changes to parasympathetic, which I will explain now shortly how it happens. But in nowadays, we have inability to recover, and that is because we have unhealthy gut. So stress from being chased by a tiger or a lion, and stress from our coworker or our manager has the same biological response to our body because we are made like this. So even though there are different types of stresses, our body responds the same. So all these issues like IBS, SIBO, indigestion, bloating, cramps, and inability to sleep, anxiety, depression, they all go hand in hand because of dysbiotic gut and unable to cope with stress. And that's why 55% of the people who have IBS also suffer from anxiety and depression. And that's why we are more likely, if we have IBS, to suffer from sleep disorders. Everybody knows that stress is very damaging to our health, right? I had to learn that on a hard way. And who here has stress and anxiety? Let me know in the comments. A panel of experts, they were evaluating a lot of studies, and they came to conclusion that number one driver of morbidity and mortality was stress-induced inflammation and leaky gut. So do you want to know what happens actually in our body when we are faced with a stressful situation? I will try to explain this in a more simple way so you understand. Okay, so when we are, let's say, driving and somebody cuts off, and we immediately have like a stress response, and we want to fight and we want to argue. It's the same stress response as somebody, an animal is chasing us. So our body responds the same. So what's happening? At that moment, the hypothalamus, which is in the brain, starts releasing corticotropin, releasing hormone. CRH in short, which activates the pituitary gland to release another hormone, which is called ACTH. And this hormone actually activates the adrenal glands, which are on the top of the kidneys, the adrenals, to release cortisol. Okay, so this is called HPA axis. Maybe you have heard about that. So it's hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands. So hypothalamus actually is triggering the sympathetic nervous system with this reaction. And what happens? Our heart rate becomes to increase Then it dilates our pupils so we can have sharper vision. Increases the blood flow to the muscles, to the heart, and to the brain, of course. But it shuts down our digestive system. So digestive system at that time, it doesn't perform very well. So our digestive system and our immunity is decreased, is suppressed actually. And because all the resources are moved away from the digestion into fight or flight, right? We need to save our life. So when our sympathetic nervous system is activated, it releases catecholamines, which are pro-inflammatory markers, and activates our immune cells like macrophages, dendritic cells, and microglial cells that are our immune cells in our brain. And they start releasing pro-inflammatory cytokines that increases the inflammation even more. So cortisol, when it's produced and is dumped in our body and in our gut, it increases leakiness of the gut almost instantly. So when cortisol gets there into our gut, the cells become more permeable and we have more and more creating leaky gut. And then toxins and other food undigested leaks through our body and it creates more inflammation. And this is the situation if we have unhealthy gut. Okay, so cortisol is triggering release of one particular inflammatory marker, which is called IL-6, interleukin 6. That normally when cortisol is going up and up and up, it's increased. At certain level, it will be when the person is away from the danger. It's reabsorbed by the glucocorticoid receptors, and there is no more cortisol floating in our body, and it's reduced, and the body is calmed down and changes from sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. And HPA axis is downregulated. That's normally how it should be. What happens when somebody cuts our road in front of us, or we have a fight with our partner, or our boss yell at us? What happens? So cortisol, when it gets released, it triggers the IL-6 and it goes up and re-triggers the HPA axis. So again, it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system and creating more and more cortisol. So this single stressor can constantly re-trigger this HPA axis and creates constant stress and low grade of anxiety. Stress increases the pathogenic bacteria to overgrowth in the body, and each time the HPA axis gets activated, it drives more and more dysbiosis in our gut. And then bowels are not moving properly, so we end up with either constipation or diarrhea. Our immune system is not functioning properly, and this stress response, because it's constantly re-triggering. And because immune system now is suppressed, and we are more susceptible to getting disease. So in this case, the inflammation is actually raging in our body. And if we are in this constant sympathetic nervous system state, we cannot sleep. So melatonin is less produced, and this is balance with the cortisol, because when cortisol is up, melatonin is down. So if we have constant cortisol up, we cannot produce melatonin, and we have problems with the sleep. So this constant HPA activation through releasing the cortisol, it's not allowing this to melatonin to be produced and to go back to parasympathetic state. And the leakiness of the gut, if we have a leaky gut that is created by cortisol, of course, it's instantly created, will keep this cycle reactivated through the IL-6, interleukin 6. So this interleukin 6 is also down-regulating the glucocorticoid receptors, which are actually there to bind and absorb the cortisol. So we change to the parasympathetic state to calm down the HPA axis. So if this is down-regulated, so cortisol just will go up and up and up and up, and it will not be able to bind with these receptors and to down-regulate the HPA axis and to change from the sympathetic to parasympathetic nervous system. So this cycle continues to exist, and that is also actually when we have dysbiotic gut, and most of the people watching this has gut disbalance, and it creates leakiness of the gut instantly. So that's what I'm saying all the time. If there is constant stress all the time, it doesn't matter how the best food that you eat, it will not work. So it will the stress, the cortisol will constantly be producing leaky gut. When HPA axis is activated, it causes low production of serotonin. We know serotonin is the happiness hormone, so it's been produced less and less, and also brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is increasing the long-term depression. So we know that the gut bacteria, by digesting the food, they produce tryptophan, which is a precursor for serotonin. And if we don't have the good bacteria, or even if we have, if tryptophan is produced, if we are under stress, there are two pathways from tryptophan. If we are in a stressful mode, if we are not in stressful mode, it will create serotonin, of course, the melatonin and neuroprotective hormones. But if we are in constant stress, this tryptophan will convert to kynurenine acid and quinolic acid, which are neurotoxic. I hope you found this video informative and you understand now how the stress is creating leaky gut. And healing the leaky gut, it's not a joke. It's a complex process, cannot be done like just taking a bunch of supplements. And I hope you understand that gut, healing the gut and the stress, controlling the stress is two important things that go together if we want complete healing. Okay, so if you find this video informative, please like, comment and share with your friends or somebody you know that has stress related issues, maybe disease, which all the disease starts from leaky gut. Any disease, any symptoms that we have on our body starts from having a leaky gut. So thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.